Is the Department of Justice in the US about to start investigating media? This was on the basis of some rather alarming headlines in the last week or so, suggesting that some individuals in the media industry in the US had been approached by the FBI for questioning. Not that those people had necessarily done anything wrong, but the implication or the inference is that this could be related to the ANA's media transparency reporting from 2016. And some of the people who have been approached by the FBI may be some of those people that contributed to the K2 findings, the K2 process back in 2016.
That's right.
If so, it could suggest, and I think that's the suggestion of the press reports, that the Department of Justice is gathering information maybe to launch their own investigation into media rebate practice in the US.
That's right. And this is purely speculation.
It is total speculation at this point.
But it does all come back to John Mandel.
Yes.
Right? 2015, he stood up at the ANA conference and talked openly about the US being a rebate market. And that prompted the ANA to pull together a task force to go and investigate that. And they issued their report, their findings, the following year. And then this is kind of where we're at now, right? I mean, that was...
So that was in June of 2016. So I mean, we've spoken a lot about this on Media Snack, but it's interesting to think of the timeline that may have got us to where we are now, so that we can think what the implications might be. When the ANA report came out in June 2016, that was on the basis of evidence gathered by K2 Intelligence, which was this independent firm, as we know, that was hired. Later that year, the Department of Justice in the US issued a subpoena against K2 to take over some of the information that they gathered, because they were looking into production transparency, which is a separate thing. And they became aware that K2 had gathered some information on production processes as part of the media transparency investigation. It was just kind of accidental gathering of information. Now, we were speculating at the time, I think we did so on Media Snack, that the Department of Justice subpoena, if you're still with us, keep with it, may have given them access to all of the evidence gathered as part of the K2's media transparency investigation. If so, we were thinking it's maybe only a matter of time before they kind of look at that information, if they're allowed to, and maybe take a decision as to whether to investigate that a bit further.
That's right.
The production investigation of the DoJ is still ongoing. They haven't issued any kind of update on that. But that's kind of where it got to. And then Mark Pritchard stands up.
That's right.
2017.
And he talks about the murky supply chain. And he galvanizes the marketing community to make a stand and bring back greater control. And then we find ourselves in 2018 with Mediapalooza 2, where some of the biggest advertisers in the world are going to market with a more progressive ambition for media and their agencies, which is a really good, positive step change. And then we come across kind of some quite scary headlines. And my fear is that it's going to take the edge off some of the positivity that we find ourselves within the industry at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of confronting part of this story, is that it's serious. If the DOJ is instructing the FBI, if they are, to gather additional information, to build upon the evidence gathered by K2, only then will they make a call as to whether to issue a formal investigation. And only then, on the basis of that evidence, would they ever look to make any kind of prosecutions or anything, or charges against individuals or companies. So we're a long way off anything that catastrophic. However, it is incredibly worrying at a time when there is some positivity in the industry. It's sad. It's really sad to see. This is lingering. 2 years after the ANA made a pretty definitive kind of judgment, although they didn't name and shame, and didn't name names, didn't provide the evidence, the DOJ could make that public if they progress this investigation and find more. So it's a worrying time, and it's quite a sad time to be in the industry, knowing that we may be under the spotlight yet again.
Yeah, and the spotlight is going to go on for a while, as you rightly pointed out. The Department of Justice don't do things quickly from what I can gather. And so the cloud over this, I think, will continue for a significant period of time, just at a time when I think everybody, client, agency, vendors, want to move forward in a really positive way.
Yeah, right. Right, good week. Give me a good week for...
Well, it's been a good week for good stuff.
Yes.
The UK, yeah, absolutely. The UK independent agency who won all sorts of awards for doing brilliant work this and last year. And they have launched an initiative where they are going to be supporting startup companies within the media and Marcom sector to the tune of £1 million.
Good.
And you know, it's a brilliant initiative. I think they're doing the right thing, and I'm hoping that they're going to provoke and inspire lots of other smart people to launch their own agencies.
Yeah, very good.
So, and it's been a bad week for...
Well, I'm just looking ahead. It's not a bad week for, but this is the week of Cannes Festival, Cannes Lions, and we're heading out there later today. We're filming this on a Monday. We normally film this towards the end of the week, but we're doing a special on a Monday so we can get it out. Mm-hmm. So we're heading to Cannes. Cannes is on trial. Sorry to use a parallel with the Department of Justice. They're not under trial on trial with the Department of Justice. However, after the over-the-top exuberance and criticism of 2017 in Cannes, where if you remember, we spoke a lot and lots of people were saying, it's too big, it's too long, it's too expensive, and it's got away from its kind of purpose, and nobody enjoyed themselves. This is now the slimmed down, toned down version. So we're going to go and see. There's an excellent editorial piece by Claire Beale, who's the editor-in-chief of Campaign, which we'll link to, which really sets that out very nicely. The challenge that it's got, it's facing somewhat of a bit of a crisis, because it's got away from its purpose. Yeah. We'll see this year whether it has done enough to appease the critics, and perhaps we can report again on that next week. Yeah. Right, there can only be one question of the week. Will the Department of Justice investigate US media?
Yes, no, maybe.
Nicely done. Okay, that's your media snack for this week. Please give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing. Bye for now.
See you next time.